Welcome back to Pocket Change Coins. Love hidden coin treasures? First, we're revealing coins that could be worth much more than you think. New here? Like, subscribe, and let's dive in. We're uncovering the fascinating story behind one of the most overlooked yet incredibly valuable coins in American history, the 1965 Washington quarter dollar. Now, this isn't just any coin from the past. This is a piece of history, wrapped in mystery, and potentially worth a life-changing amount of money. So don't blink, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why a coin that most people still carry in their pocket could be hiding in plain sight, and just how much it could be worth today. Let's rewind the clock to the year 1965. The Beatles were taking over the music world, people were watching space launches on their black and white TVs, and America was deep in the heart of major social and political change. But there was something else happening, something quieter, but just as significant, right in the pockets of everyday Americans. That year, the U.S. Mint made a dramatic shift. Silver was getting expensive, and the U.S. government decided to stop making coins with 90% silver content. From 1932 to 1964, Washington quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. But starting in 1965, that all changed. The Mint began producing quarters made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, no silver at all. The 1965 Washington quarter was the first of this new generation of coins. Millions were made, billions, in fact, so it may sound strange to say this coin could be worth more than a brand new luxury car. But as with most things in the world of coin collecting, the devil is in the details. Here's where things get interesting. You see, during this transition in 1965, the Mint was still phasing out the old silver planchets, the metal discs that would become coins. And according to some reports and collector findings, a very small number of 1,965 quarters were accidentally struck using the leftover 90% silver planchets from the previous year. These rare coins somehow slipped through the cracks and entered circulation. To the untrained eye, they look just like any other quarter. But to a collector? They're gold, or rather, silver. These rare silver 1965 quarters are the stuff of legend. So how do you tell if you've got one of these rare gems? The first clue is the sound. Silver coins have a higher pitched ring compared to the duller clank of copper-nickel. You can also look at the edge of the coin. Most clad coins show a distinct copper stripe along the edge. A solid silver quarter? That edge will be pure silver colored all the way around, no copper in sight. But there's more. If your 1965 quarter feels slightly heavier, weighs around 6.25 grams instead of 5.67 grams, and has that distinct silver look and sound, it might be time to stop everything and get it checked out by a professional. Now, let's talk about condition. As with all collectible coins, condition matters a lot. A heavily circulated coin will still be worth something if it's a silver error, but a pristine, uncirculated coin? That's where the real value lies. The coin's surface, luster, strike, and sharpness of details can all drastically increase its desirability and price, and then, of course, come the grading services, companies like PCGS and NGC, that authenticate and grade coins. When one of these rare 1965 silver quarters is verified and graded highly by one of these services, the bidding wars begin. So, what's the payoff? You've waited long enough. If you happen to be one of the incredibly lucky few to own a genuine 1965 Washington quarter that was mistakenly struck on a 90% silver planchet, and it's in exceptional, uncirculated condition, then congratulations, because your coin could be worth as much as $135,000. Yes, you heard that right. A simple 25-cent coin. Worth $135,000, and you might have one sitting in a drawer, a coin jar, or a forgotten collection right now. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the rarest treasures are hiding in plain sight. So the next time you get change at the grocery store or dig through your old coin stash, take a closer look. That ordinary quarter might just be your ticket to something extraordinary. Second rare coin, we're diving into a true American classic, the United States Washington quarter dollar minted with the dual date 1776 to 1976. That's right, this isn't just a coin, it's a tribute to 200 years of American independence. But here's the twist: while millions of these bicentennial quarters were made and circulated across the country, a select few are hiding a secret that could turn your pocket change into a small fortune. You definitely don't want to miss this one, because by the end of this video, you'll find out why one of these quarters is worth as much as a brand new luxury sports car. Let's rewind just a bit. The year was 1976. The United States was celebrating its 200th birthday, 2 centuries since the Declaration of Independence was signed. It was a time of reflection, patriotism, fireworks, and celebration. In honor of this monumental anniversary, the U.S. Mint released special editions of several coins, including the quarter. Unlike the traditional Washington quarter, which always had the profile of George Washington on the front and an eagle on the back, this bicentennial version kept Washington's portrait but replaced the reverse design with something completely different: a colonial drummer boy standing proudly with a torch encircled by 13 stars. That design wasn't just symbolic, it was powerful. It represented the heartbeat of America's revolutionary spirit and the original 13 colonies that fought for freedom. Now, here's where it gets interesting: these quarters weren't just produced in one year, they were actually minted in 1975 and 1976, but they all bear the dual date, 1776 to 1976. And while they were struck in massive numbers for general circulation, the U.S. Mint also produced special versions that were never meant to be spent at all. There are several types of these bicentennial quarters. Some were made of the regular copper-nickel clad composition. Others, however, were minted in 40% silver as part of special collector sets, proof and uncirculated versions that were sold directly to the public. These silver quarters were shinier, heavier, and made with more care and detail than your average pocket change. And then, there are the ultra-rare error coins, experimental strikes, and high-grade specimens that exist in extremely limited numbers. Imagine this: a coin meant to celebrate the past, that ends up changing someone's future. You see, in the world of coin collecting, rarity isn't the only thing that matters. It's also about condition, metal content, striking errors, and collector demand. And when all of those things come together in one coin, that's when the value soars. Now, let's talk about those hidden gems. Some of the most sought-after 1776 to 1976 quarters are those that were struck on silver planchets by mistake, or have striking anomalies like double dies, off-center impressions, or other minting errors that slipped past inspection. Combine that with a coin that's been perfectly preserved, no scratches, no wear, just flawless shine, and you've got something truly special. Collectors go wild for coins that grade exceptionally high, especially those graded MS-68 or above by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. Only a tiny number of these quarters reach that level of perfection, and those that do instantly become centerpieces in private collections or museums. And here's the thing: these coins are still out there. They're tucked away in old coin albums, sitting in dusty drawers, hidden in forgotten mint sets. They've been passed down through families, thrown in with jars of spare change, or simply stashed away and forgotten. All it takes is one lucky discovery, and your life could change in an instant, because here's the moment you've been waiting for. If you happen to find one of these rare bicentennial quarters, specifically one struck in silver, preserved in pristine condition, or displaying a unique minting error, then you might just be holding a coin that's worth as much as $140,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single quarter. Worth $140,000. It's the ultimate reminder that treasure isn't always buried. Sometimes, it's jingling in your pocket. So the next time you get change from the store, take a closer look. That 1776 to 1976 quarter might not just be a patriotic keepsake, it might be your lucky ticket to something incredible. Third expensive coin, I'm talking about the 1979 United States Washington quarter dollar. Now, you might be thinking, 1979? That's not even that old. And you'd be right. But don't be fooled by its age. This coin isn't just another quarter tossed into a vending machine or lost in a couch cushion. Some versions of this coin, under the right conditions, have stunned collectors and appraisers with their eye-popping value. So stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what makes this coin so special, and just how much it could be worth today. Let's start with a little background. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Since then, it's been a staple in American currency, familiar, reliable, and often overlooked. But by 1979, the United States Mint was producing coins in a world that was rapidly changing. Inflation, economic challenges, and evolving minting technology were shaping the way coins were made. In 1979, quarters were struck in the standard copper-nickel clad composition, not silver like the older pre-1965 coins, but there was something unique about the way some of these 1979 quarters were produced. You see, the value of a coin isn't always about what it's made of, it's about the details. The design. The minting process. The imperfections. And the condition. Every coin tells a story, and some stories are worth far more than 25 cents. Now, most 1979 quarters were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. If you look closely, you'll notice tiny mint marks, P, D, or S, on the coin's face, right next to Washington's ponytail. These marks tell us where the coin came from. And that matters more than you might think. The San Francisco Mint, for example, produced special proof coins in 1979 for collectors. These coins were struck with extra care, resulting in sharper details and a mirror-like finish. But sometimes, mistakes happened, and in the world of coin collecting, those mistakes are pure gold. Some 1979 quarters were struck on the wrong metal planchets. Others display what collectors call double dies, where the image was struck twice, slightly offset, creating a ghost-like effect that can be seen in the letters or numbers. There are also off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and other mint errors that make a seemingly ordinary coin incredibly rare. But even without minting errors, there's one more factor that can send a coin's value through the roof: its condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect, uncirculated coin, flawless under magnification. Most coins in your pocket today are graded somewhere around 20 or 30, worn from years of use. But once in a blue moon, a coin from decades ago surfaces in nearly perfect condition, shiny, crisp, and completely untouched by time. That's when collectors go wild. Now picture this: a 1979 quarter that was struck with rare precision, possibly with a minting error, and preserved in near-perfect, uncirculated condition. It's the kind of coin that slips past everyday eyes and ends up in the hands of someone who truly knows what they're looking for. And those coins don't just end up in a collector's album, they end up at auctions. And when they do, the prices they fetch can be absolutely jaw-dropping. So here's the moment you've been waiting for. If you are lucky enough to find a 1979 Washington quarter with a rare mint error, struck in exceptional detail, and graded at the highest levels by a professional service, then believe it or not, you could be holding a coin worth as much as $110,000, yes. $110,000, all from a coin that most people would overlook without a second thought. So what's the takeaway here? Check your change. Look through that old jar of coins in the attic. Flip through those proof sets you inherited from your grandparents. Because the next big treasure might already be in your hands, you just need to know what to look for. Especially, we're taking a closer look at a coin that might seem completely ordinary at first glance. But what if I told you that a 1981 D Washington quarter dollar could be worth a small fortune? Yes, you heard that right. A coin that millions of people spent without thinking twice could actually be a rare and valuable find, and by the end of this video, you'll find out exactly what to look for, and just how much this unassuming quarter could be worth today. Spoiler alert, it's not just pocket change. Let's set the scene. The year is 1981. Ronald Reagan has just taken office as president, MTV is about to launch, and arcades across the country are packed with kids playing Pac-Man. Meanwhile, in Denver, Colorado, the U.S. Mint is busy striking Washington quarters, millions of them. These 1981 quarters proudly feature the small D mint mark just to the right of George Washington's ponytail, signifying they were minted at the Denver Mint. Now, at first glance, there doesn't seem to be anything particularly unusual about the 1981 D quarter. It's made of the standard copper-nickel clad composition, it weighs about 5.67 grams, and it features the same design we've seen on quarters since 1932, Washington's profile on the front, and a bald eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse. But as every experienced coin collector knows, the real value often lies in the details. And the 1981 D quarter? It's got a few surprises. You see, even though this coin was mass-produced, some rare versions of the 1981 D quarter have become extremely valuable thanks to two things: minting errors and condition. And when both of those come together, that's when the magic happens. Let's talk about mint errors. These are unintentional mistakes made during the coin's production. Think double strikes, off-center impressions, missing elements, or coins being struck on the wrong planchet. These kinds of errors can slip through quality control, and when they do, they create extremely rare coins that collectors will pay a premium for. In the case of the 1981 D Washington quarter, one of the most sought-after errors is a double die, where the image, lettering, or numbers appear slightly duplicated due to a misalignment during the minting process. Another valuable variety includes off-metal errors, where the coin was struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, like a nickel or penny. Even clipped planchets, where part of the coin is missing due to a miscut, can dramatically increase its value. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Condition is just as important as rarity. Coin grading services like PCGS and NGC assign coins a grade based on their state of preservation. Most coins that have been in circulation show signs of wear, scratches, or fading details, and are graded somewhere in the 20s to 50s. But if a 1981 D quarter has been perfectly preserved, maybe kept in a protective holder since the day it was minted, and it receives a grade of MS 67 or higher, that's where the value skyrockets. Combine that pristine condition with a rare minting error, and you've got something extraordinary. And let's not forget, many of these coins aren't sitting in museums. They're still out there. They're in old coin jars, forgotten boxes, inherited collections, or even mixed in with your loose change. All it takes is a sharp eye and a little bit of knowledge to spot them. So now comes the question you've been waiting for: just how much can a rare 1981 D Washington quarter be worth? Well, if you happen to come across one of these rare coins, especially one featuring a known minting error, struck in exceptional condition, and professionally graded at the highest levels, then congratulations. Because that simple little quarter could be worth as much as $99,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. One coin. $99,000. So next time you get a quarter in your change, don't be so quick to spend it. Take a good look. That 1981 D might not be just another coin, it might be the one that changes everything. Next coin, we're diving into the story of a coin that almost no one sees coming, the 1986 P Washington quarter dollar. Now, at first glance, this quarter looks completely ordinary. It's modern, it's familiar, and let's be honest, you've probably spent one just like it on a cup of coffee or tossed it into a parking meter without thinking twice. But here's the twist: some versions of this exact coin, yes, the 1986 quarter minted in Philadelphia, have shocked collectors with how valuable they've become. And if you stick with me to the end of this video, you'll discover how a single quarter from 1986 could be worth more than some brand new cars on the market today. Let's roll back to the mid-1980s. America was riding the wave of pop culture, economic shifts, and rapid technological advances. Ronald Reagan was president, the Challenger shuttle was preparing for launch, and in the background, the U.S. Mint was striking millions of quarters, just like the one we're talking about today. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932, first introduced to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. By the 1980s, the design hadn't changed much. The obverse still featured Washington's stoic profile, and the reverse still displayed the bald eagle with outstretched wings. These quarters were made with a copper core and a cupronickel outer layer, not silver like the pre-1965 versions, but durable and cheap to produce. In 1986, the Philadelphia Mint, marked by the letter P just to the right of Washington's ponytail, produced hundreds of millions of these coins. So with so many in circulation, what could possibly make one quarter stand out? That's where the magic of coin collecting comes in. Because in the world of numismatics, rarity and condition are everything. The truth is, most 1986 p quarters are worth just 25 cents. But some rare versions, due to minting mistakes, special conditions, or their near-perfect preservation, can be worth thousands, or even tens of thousands, of dollars. Let's talk about what sets these rare coins apart. First, we have the errors. These aren't your typical factory defects. Mint errors can happen when something goes wrong during the striking process. For example, a double die error might cause the text or date on the coin to appear slightly duplicated. Another error could be a planchet error, where the coin is struck on the wrong type of metal disc, maybe even a blank intended for another denomination, like a dime or a foreign coin. Some 1986 p quarters have even been found with striking anomalies, misaligned dies, or off-center images. These coins are incredibly rare because they're essentially one-of-a-kind, accidents that turned into treasures. But even without errors, there's another factor that adds huge value: condition. Most coins get scratched, nicked, or worn down over time. But once in a while, a coin survives the decades in pristine condition, never circulated, perfectly struck, and kept safe from wear. These are known as mint state coins and are graded on a scale from 1 to 70 by professional services like PCGS and NGC. If your 1986 p quarter is graded MS 67 or higher, that's when collectors start paying serious attention. Coins in this kind of condition are extremely rare, especially from a year and mint where quality control wasn't as tight as it is today. Now imagine a coin that has both a rare mint error and near-perfect condition. That's the kind of coin that turns heads at auctions. That's the kind of coin collectors dream about. And that's the kind of coin that's still out there, sitting in old coin rolls, forgotten collections, or tucked away in grandma's change jar. So, what could a 1986 p Washington quarter dollar be worth if it has these rare qualities? Well, here it is, the moment you've been waiting for. If you come across one of these rare 1986 p quarters with a major minting error and it's in top-tier, uncirculated condition, authenticated and graded by a professional service, then you just might be holding a coin worth $80,000. That's right. A single quarter worth $80,000, and to think, most people wouldn't give it a second glance. This is why coin collecting is so much more than a hobby. It's history, mystery, and treasure hunting all rolled into one. So the next time you get change back from the store, take a moment. Flip through those quarters. That 1986 p might be a lot more valuable than you think. Last unique coin, we're shining a spotlight on a coin that most people wouldn't even think twice about, a coin so common, so ordinary looking, it's probably passed through your hands dozens of times. We're talking about the 1990 p Washington quarter dollar. Now, don't be fooled by how modern this coin looks. It's not ancient. It's not made of silver or gold. And it's not from some long-forgotten era. But hidden among the millions that were minted, there are a few incredibly rare versions of this coin that are now worth far more than just 25 cents. In fact, if you stick around to the end of this video, you'll find out how one of these 1990 p quarters could be worth as much as $71,000. Yes, you heard that right, $71,000 for a single quarter. Let's dive into the story. By 1990, the Washington quarter had already been in circulation for nearly 6 decades. Originally introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the coin had become a familiar staple in wallets, vending machines, parking meters, and cash registers across the United States. The design hadn't changed much. On the front, the iconic profile of George Washington, sculpted by John Flanagan. On the back, the majestic bald eagle perched with wings outstretched, a symbol of strength and freedom. And right there beside Washington's ponytail, you'll find the letter P, indicating that the coin was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. In 1990 alone, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 613 million of these quarters. That's a staggering number. So how in the world could any single one of them be rare, let alone valuable? Here's where things get interesting. Even in high production years, the US Mint isn't immune to making mistakes. In fact, with that many coins being struck, it's more likely that some minting errors will slip through the cracks, and when they do, collectors take notice. So what makes certain 1990 p quarters so valuable? First, we need to talk about mint errors. These are unintentional mistakes that occur during the coin production process. And in the world of numismatics, some of these errors are extremely desirable. Some 1990 quarters have been found with double die errors, where parts of the design, like the lettering or date, appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during the striking process. Others have off-center strikes, where the image is shifted and doesn't align with the edge of the coin. Then there are even rarer cases, coins struck on the wrong planchet, or blank discs meant for other denominations entirely. Each of these errors turns a common coin into a one-of-a-kind collector's item. But even without errors, there's another factor that can turn a regular coin into something truly extraordinary: condition. Most coins get scratched, dinged, and worn down from years of circulation. But once in a while, a coin stays untouched, never spent, never handled, preserved in its original, uncirculated state. These coins are graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC on a scale from 1 to 70. The closer a coin is to 70, the more valuable it becomes. A 1990 quarter graded as MS 67 or higher, especially if it's paired with a minting error, instantly becomes incredibly rare. The kind of coin that collectors go crazy for. So what does that mean for you? It means that in a world filled with ordinary quarters, there are just a handful that rise above the rest, coins that slipped through time without a scratch, or that were born with beautiful imperfections. These are the coins that become the holy grails of pocket change. And chances are, some of them are still out there, hidden in old jars, dusty drawers, forgotten piggy banks, or even in circulation today, which brings us to the big reveal. If you come across a 1990 Washington quarter with a significant mint error, struck in near-perfect condition, and authenticated by a top-tier grading service, then you, my friend, could be holding a coin worth as much as $71,000, yes, that's right. A single quarter. Worth $71,000, and all it takes is one lucky find. So before you spend that next quarter on a snack or a parking meter, take a moment to look closely. Check the date. Look for the P mint mark. Inspect the details. That ordinary coin just might be the most extraordinary thing in your collection. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about hidden gems in American coinage, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon so you never miss the next exciting discovery. We're always searching for the next piece of history hiding in plain sight. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy collecting, and keep your eyes on your change. You never know what treasure you might find.